Hey everybody, welcome back to Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here with Hannah Burr. It's actually really cold outside.
Yeah, you called?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How are you doing tonight?
Doing all right. It is
Staying
cold
warm?
outside. Yeah. Hence the sweatshirt and the sniffles.
I know. It's everywhere. Yeah, it is. It's pretty cold right now in Kentucky. 30 something today.
Yep.
Yeah, might get to 50 later in the week, but who knows? I do want a white Christmas though. That's all I really want. But you're going to be out of town for Christmas, right?
Yes, I am going up to Pennsylvania for Christmas.
So you might actually get snow. I don't know.
We probably will.
Yeah. All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the second to last episode of 2023 on Inside the Force. We have had a great year of content, which is what we will talk about next week a lot. Mm-hmm. But as always, of course, this year, thanks to our patrons that have supported the show and continue to do so. We really, really appreciate that. I promise I am this close. I've got stuff ready to ship to you all. I'm going to ship you guys some stuff, all of my patrons. So look for that coming here. Mm-hmm. I hope you guys enjoy what I've got. I handpicked a bunch of stuff for you also. It's taking a little bit of time to get it because it's unique. No one else is going to have this stuff, right? So I hope they like it. If you're interested in joining our Patreon list, go to patreon.com/InsideTheForce. Check out our tiers there. We've got some plans for next year. So let me go ahead and just put that at the top of this episode just in case people don't listen all the way to the end. Next week, we're going to do what we normally do every year is kind of recap 2023. StarWars.com kind of does the same thing. They actually just put out their article today that kind of highlights everything that happened and came out in 2023. So we'll kind of run through that list as well, kind of talk about our favorites and what really stood out for us in the year. And then the first week of January, we'll talk about what's coming in 2024, what we're most excited about, things like that. So we kind of do a look back and a look ahead. But also next week, Hannah, I'm working on finishing up kind of what kind of our release schedule looks like. And the things that we've been talking about really kind of doing each month. And so we'll kind of reveal some of that next week so that people can actually look forward to what's coming, and we'll be a little bit more proactive on dates and things like that of what we're doing. So, been working on a lot of this stuff recently and trying to get this a little more organized, I mean, I feel like I'm organized, but just want to get some more content organized and out there. So
it'll be good. It'll be great.
It'll be fun. It's going to be fun. I mean, we're going to be busy working a lot, but it's going to be a lot of Star Wars next year, Hannah. Lots of Star Wars. So, okay. So look for that next week. We'll talk about that after Christmas, of course, after everybody has a great holiday week. I'm glad we were able to squeeze this in before you go out of town, and of course before my kids bombard me with all their gifts. So
have you not finished Christmas shopping yet?
Oh no, I've been done. We get done early.
Okay.
No.
Good.
But there's going to be a lot going on over the next few days, and we're going to get this out there and everybody enjoy their holidays, and we'll be back next week as well. One of the first things, though, let's get into is this new book that was announced, a novel coming out. I think it's coming out August of 2024, so a little bit of a ways away. But I think about a character that people have been dying to get more stories of. Of course, I think they want some stories of possibly his survival
Yes.
But I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
We never did see a body.
We never did see a body. No, of course not. So anyway, a book by Stephen Barnes, and this book centers around none other than Mace Windu. In fact, it's called Mace Windu, The Glass Abyss. And the log line basically is Jedi Master Mace Windu travels to a dangerous, remote planet on a mission that challenges even his deadly prowess, all to fulfill Qui-Gon's last request. And I don't think I read this. I don't think it tells us what his last request was. So he sees it in a message marked to be delivered to Mace after Qui-Gon had obviously got killed by Darth Maul. Mm-hmm. So, going to be in the post-episode 1 timeline of this book. So, what do you think about the story? What do you think about this coming out at this time?
I think you're right. I think Mace Windu is a character that a lot of us want to learn more of. And we got a little taste of that in Tales of the Jedi with his interaction with with Dooku. So I think it'll be very, very interesting to learn more about Mace. In this book specifically, I wonder if we're probably going to get a young Anakin. We're probably going to get Obi-Wan. I wonder if we'll get a little bit of Yaddle and Dooku before that whole thing went down. Mm-hmm. But I also find it very interesting that Qui-Gon left something for Mace to do. Like, I never, ever got the impression that Qui-Gon and Mace were that close. So why not give it to his Padawan to complete? Why not give it to Yoda? Mm-hmm. Or somebody else? Why Mace? Why him? So I think that's what makes it very, very intriguing. This is a story that I'm like, okay, I'm excited for. Although I'll admit, when I first saw the picture of the cover, I thought it was a movie about Mace Windu. And I was like, okay. I love Samuel L. Jackson, but do we need a movie about Mace? But now it's a book. It's like, okay, this actually could be really, really, really cool. What are your thoughts?
You know, I have this theory all the time that at least what I think they're trying to maybe do and think about during the marketing process of this thing, right? I mean, that's kind of an early announcement, I would say. I mean, we're 9 months away from the release of this book, right? Mm-hmm. And we still haven't heard really anything, which we'll kind of get into a little bit, but the release schedule of whatever content's coming out next year, right?
Right.
So I do look at this and I think, okay, why August? Could that mean season 2 of Tales of the Jedi is going to be around this time, and there's probably going to mean that maybe there's another Mace Windu type story in that as well to kind of go hand in hand with the release and marketing of this book, you know? I mean, we did get some Mace Windu, I think, in the last Tales, right? With the Dooku series. So I'm curious what that season 2 is going to bring us, you know, because I definitely think that time period between episode 1 and 2 is vastly unexplored. Mm-hmm. Did a little bit with the Queen's Hope and Queen's Shadow, Queen's Peril novels. Had to look at the titles. Yeah. You know, we explored a little bit there, and you know, Brotherhood we did a little bit. Although I think that was before episode 1. But anyway,
Brotherhood was between 2 and 3.
No, Brotherhood was Qui-Gon, so that was before episode 1.
Oh, I thought Brotherhood was Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Brotherhood.
Are you thinking Master and Apprentice?
Oh, I am thinking of Master and Apprentice. Sorry. Master and Apprentice, yes. Was Qui-Gon before episode 1. So I think Tale of the Jedi, I think you really can only go, unless you kind of go around the Clone Wars again, which we've seen a lot of, but you got a lot of Jedi still around in the galaxy during 1 and 2, so there's where I think the stories lie. And obviously this is kind of entertaining that story. I think we're actually going to start getting, I do actually think we're going to start getting more stories around the prequel era in the books anyway, in the publishing, I think. Could be wrong, but because I feel like we're going to eventually come to a close in the Star Wars comics, because right now we're between 5 and 6. And I think once that's over, I feel like they're going to start coming to the prequels and doing more there.
That'll be cool, though.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, what if the other reason why this is coming out, and this is we'll talk about this a little later. What if Mace makes an appearance in the Bad Batch? I mean, we didn't see a body.
Yeah, that'd be huge. Yeah.
Like, that would be monumental if he survived.
Yep.
So maybe that's why.
Yeah, and leave it to Filoni now being the chief creative officer, right, to start making those kind of decisions.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
No, I wouldn't either. I mean, that's definitely interesting, because it's kind of like the Boba Fett thing, right? Everybody wanted Boba Fett to be brought back. Did he survive the Sarlacc or not? Come on, tell us. And he did. Surely, if he got eaten and was able to survive, Mace just kind of flew off a building. Hopefully he survived, He's
like a cat. He lands on his feet.
Yeah. But then, it does beg the question, okay, well, where has he been all this time, and how has he survived all this time? But I mean, as we've seen, a lot of Jedi have survived.
I also think it'd be really, really cool if, because he was a Jedi, he couldn't see someone to get robotic hands, so he just uses the Force to wield his lightsaber.
Oh, funny.
Okay. That would be cool, would it not?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, that would be cool.
And I feel like if anybody could do it, Mace could.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Arguably he's the strongest Jedi besides Yoda. Especially at this point in time. So there you go. It does say Qui-Gon actually says the message contains a last request, a plea to help the Outer Rim planet of Metagos. So,
have we heard of that planet before?
I have not heard of that planet before.
Metagos.
Yeah.
Huh.
Metagos. So probably a new planet.
I find it surprising that he wouldn't ask him to go help out, like Tatooine or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, something there. So anyway, there you go. Mace Windu, new book, Glass Abyss. Besides, a couple of High Republic novels, there's not a lot of announcement on novels yet for next year. So I'm anticipating a lot of those happening early next year to kind of figure out where we are, because it seems like, phase 3 of the High Republic is going to come to an end at some point early next year. So got some more novels that we've got to get out there. Okay, so other news kind of leading into, I guess, a little bit of that. Well, let's do this first. There is articles out there that I've read today that there have been some press releases being released in the UK, not necessarily in the States yet.
Which is very interesting.
Very interesting. I don't know. It says the Walt Disney Company UK press release, so I don't know. I don't know why, but it does confirm that the Bad Batch and season 2 of Tales of the Jedi are indeed coming in 2024, along with The Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. So again, technically, those are the 4 series-based content that we will be getting in 2024, which is what we've talked about. I don't think there's any surprise, really. Don't really know the order yet.
No, we don't.
Right. I think it's going to be the Bad Batch, the Acolyte, Tales of the Jedi, and then Skeleton Crew. That's what I think.
I think I agree with you.
I think Bad Batch has been done. I think it's done.
That's an easy one to...
I think they're ready to roll with that.
Or it
Acolyte.
could be...
What?
It could be they're going to start with the Bad Batch, see how well that does. And depending on how well that does, and who knows, maybe we'll meet like some remnants of the Skeleton Crew or the beginning of the Skeleton Crew in Bad Batch. Maybe. Could be a way to help tease it, because Skeleton
there's
Crew...
a pretty big gap. There's a pretty big gap there. So that's the only thing that's a little...
Well, it could be like you run into the kids. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. The kids would be... They wouldn't exist at the Bad Batch.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of... Because Skeleton Crew is so... It's not that it's out there, but it's so disconnected in this timeline. Yes. I don't know, how are you going to connect it to... Like, how are you going to tease it, I guess, is my question.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Jude Law is rumored to be the connection somehow. Like, he's possibly a Jedi.
Well, I don't even mean a connection like that. I just mean, like, is there somebody in Skeleton Crew that we will recognize? Not recognize celebrity-wise, but recognize character-wise.
Oh, is there... As of right now, I don't think so. Yeah.
Exactly. So my question is, how are you going to tease this show? Or maybe the show is the experiment show to be like, do we start telling random stories during this time period?
Right. That's very much true. Yep. Very, very true. I mean, because I think we've been told and kind of rumored that this is part of the Mandoverse.
Yeah.
But it's not a Filoni Favreau show like the other ones are. This is somebody else's idea that they pitched, and they let them produce it, and they're kind of executive producing it, but to fit it in. But you're right, it's not part of it's not coming from their mind. So it's almost like the MCU in a sense, where they're kind of they're hopefully trying to get the creators to write, follow a path that kind of leads into the other ones. But I don't know, maybe it doesn't.
And if once that's great if that's the case. That's fantastic. My question is, how are you going to? Because I know you and I will watch it. How do you help other people watch it?
True.
How are you going to tease it? Where's the hook for people to go, oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, that's a valid point. And the fact that we haven't actually seen anything from it is a little concerning. But
yes.
So anyway, that's the schedule. And now, based on that schedule, you had brought up an article about the Bad Batch. What do you have there?
So Screen Rant, about a week ago, released an article listing their predictions, or this contributor's predictions of what's going to happen in the final season of the Bad Batch. Some of these I feel like, well, yes, of course that's going to happen, but I think some of them are fairly fascinating. Like the first one they brought up made me go, that's interesting. They predict that the Delta Squad will make a return.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not all that tied to the Delta Squad, I guess.
Mhm.
You know, I didn't really play that game as much. You know, they briefly showed up in the Clone Wars, I believe.
Yes.
But, you know, yeah, that's great, but it's not really a big cameo for me.
Well, the Delta Squad's Scorch, one of the members of the Delta Squad, actually appeared
Yes.
in seasons 1 and 2. So, but
Yes,
I'm
that's
with
right.
you. I don't have a lot of ties to Delta Squad in the sense of like I'm a fangirl or whatever. But
Right.
I just thought that that's an interesting thought of bringing the entire Delta Squad into Bad Batch.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is more bounty hunters pursuing the Bad Batch. This one feels like a slightly obvious one, but at the same time is like, that's interesting because there are several different bounty hunters we could see make an appearance in this show that we're already familiar with.
Yeah, and I keep going back to, you know, this being partially a continuation of the Clone Wars where Filoni can finish out some storylines that he wasn't able to finish in the Clone Wars.
Absolutely.
And one of them was the Bane Boba Fett storyline. So absolutely, I think if he had the opportunity to kind of finish that out, I think we finally could see maybe those unfinished episodes of the Clone Wars revamped into this storyline somehow.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And it also makes sense because now they know that they actually survived the destruction on Kamino.
That's right. That's right.
This one I feel like is more of a given. Wrecker and Hunter are going to return to Pabu for a safe haven. I feel like Pabu was established in the last season that it is a safe haven for them to go, which is great. But it also makes me wonder, does that mean we're going to see, I'm going to add to that, does that mean we're going to see the destruction of Pabu?
Gosh, I hope not.
I hope not too, but
That would be, yeah.
if they go and you got bounty hunters, especially Bane. Yes.
Yeah. Did we? I have to think back. How did? It's so bad of me. How did season 2 end? Did it end on Pabu? No, it ended with.
No.
That's right. It ended with Omega caught and brought to the cloning facility or whatever facility. I don't think we
where
know if it's a cloning
Crosshair
facility.
is.
Where Crosshair is. That's right.
And now
But the rest of them were they at Pabu still, or were they?
They were on another planet because Omega gave herself up to save them.
Right. Okay.
So no, they were not on Pabu. They left
I clearly
Pabu.
need to rewatch season 2.
They left Pabu because they intercepted some radio transmissions, leading them to believe they knew where Crosshair was, and it turned out to be a huge trap.
Dang, yeah, you got a good memory. Okay.
I can't believe I remember that one in all honesty. But
Yeah,
speaking
because normally I watch, like, I've seen the first season a few times. I actually have not rewatched the second season yet.
I haven't either. I haven't had a need to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not like, man, I could really watch this again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but speaking of Crosshair and Omega, their prediction number 4 is that Crosshair and Omega will have to work together to escape. I think that's a fairly given.
Yes.
That's I don't think we need to talk about that one. That's a given. But this one was interesting. Former Commander Cody joins the clone resistance.
I think that's inevitable. Yep.
I think it is too, but I'll be honest, because I feel like this is such a continuation of the Clone Wars, I sometimes get confused what happens in the Clone Wars and what happened. Like, there are moments in the Bad Batch where I'm like, oh, that's right. That happened in the Bad Batch, not the final season of Clone Wars.
Right. Yes.
So I completely forgot about Commander Cody's storyline.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, the last time before this, the last time we saw Commander Cody was episode 3.
Yep.
And we didn't know what happened to him because by the time we get to Rebels, we only get those three guys, Wolf, Gregor, and Rex.
Rex.
So Cody we don't know what happens to him. So, there were rumors that he was possibly going to appear in Obi-Wan in live action.
Yes.
Right? Which would have been really cool.
Because we saw there were reports of Tamara Morrison that he was on set. And he was on set.
And he was, but he wasn't Cody. You're right.
Exactly.
So I think it's good to see. I think he's one of those popular characters from the Clone Wars, and this is giving again Filoni a chance to kind of close out some storylines and let us know what happens to him.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely important. And then number 2, more secret Imperial projects will appear on Wayland. I don't doubt this at all. I mean, I wonder if they're going to do more allusions to the clone project for Palpatine. We might actually learn more about what Omega is and why she's so special and different. So I feel like this is also a given.
That's right, because the doctor said that she was a clone.
Yep.
So, yeah, so there's all kinds of questions there.
A lot of questions.
Yeah.
A lot of what?
Yes. Yeah. That's right.
A lot of bombshells.
I'm starting to remember now. To remember. And
then the last thing they predict is that famous Imperial and Dark Side characters will appear. And they aren't just referring to Palpatine. They're saying we might get Darth Vader, we might get Thrawn. Again, there might be a return of Darth Maul. So, I mean, I think that would be interesting, but not that I don't think the Clone Wars is that important of a show, but I don't know if you need an appearance from Palpatine or something like that in this show. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't think Palpatine. I remember thinking back when this first got announced that I thought it would be really neat to see what we saw in the early comics was the beginning establishments of the Inquisitors and Vader training them. And I think because we're still in that era right now where they're hunting Jedi. Mm-hmm. So I kind of thought we would go there a little bit, where Filoni would go there a little bit, where we would see some of the hunting, like some of these clones would be required to go with these Inquisitors and hunt down some Jedi. Obviously, that kind of takes away from the Bad Batch, so I understand that we haven't seen that, but maybe we get a glimpse of that. I don't know. What we don't know, really, I mean, we've kind of been getting a pretty good amount of episodes each season, so if we still get the 16 or so, I think that they did last time, then there's a lot of story there that you can. Now, I definitely think since this is has been more centered around the underground aspect of it, I think the Darth Maul, Crimson Dawn aspect would be more likely.
That makes a lot more sense. But like you said, yeah, we got a lot of episodes last time, but I think we got too many episodes. I honestly think, because I know we talked about this, in my opinion, too many episodes took us away from the story too many times. There were a lot of quote unquote filler episodes, and I would love to see some of those episodes have a closed loop in this season, like with Sid. And I'm not just talking about her betrayal, but that whole episode where she owed all these people a lot of money. There was no wrap up. Like, there was no closed. It's a loose end there. And that's not the only one. So I wonder if season 3, if they do more episodes, is going to try to close up all of those loose ends.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do remember. I remember season 1 having less.
Yes.
And then I felt like season 2 had a few throwaways. Yeah.
More than a few. I think I believed that you could have gotten rid of half the episodes in that season, and you still would have had, and you would have had a stronger, more solid story, and you wouldn't have missed anything of value.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
But we'll find out. So
Yeah.
those are some predictions coming up in the series finale.
Series final season.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, I do think this is possibly an opportunity because it makes you wonder if they know this is going to be the end. Right? I think they went into this season knowing this was going to be the last season.
Right.
Which they didn't with the Clone Wars, right? So you have the opportunity to really focus on wrapping things up. And I guess the question becomes, is there another series after this? Is this going to set anything up? Or are we truly going to find the end of the Bad Batch and the end of Cody and, kind of the wrap up of these characters and not have these characters anymore? Or is there another series between now, Bad Batch and Rebels that Filoni has in mind that he wants to do? That's, I don't know, because there's still going to be a decent gap between Bad Batch and Rebels, still that 15 years or so, 14 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's story there that's beyond this group, but I think that really is going to greatly depend on how this season ends, because
Right.
there's already something planned, which there's something planned because they're going to continue to do an animated series.
Yes. But
the question is do they end this era, or because maybe they go do an animated series in the New Republic era or back in the High Republic era, Who
knows?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this group is probably the one working on Tales of the Jedi. So, obviously they're working on something now because these are done so far in advance. They're doing something. I just, my feeling is that they're going to be in a different era, but that's just me.
Either in a different era, or maybe in order to tell all of the leftover Clone Wars stories, maybe they're going to do like Clone Wars anthologies or something like that.
Oh man, that I would love that.
I don't know, but that could be what they're working on. They could be like, hey, let's just throw all these bonus episodes out there and just call it Clone Wars anthologies.
Yes, I would. I mean, I know at some point, yes, there's going to be like enough Clone War stories to do, but there were so many untold.
Yeah.
That I want to see, so I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Great stuff there on the Bad Batch. I do think the rumor is season 3 could be kicking off as soon as February, but we will see. I mean, I feel like there's got to be some kind of announcement at some point here.
I think it'll probably happen around the holiday if it's going to happen, or it'll happen at the very end of the year. One of the two.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
Need something. Okay, so because the last episode we did talk a little bit about that gap, that we're having right now. I know our buddy Martin mentioned something about that in the comments, which we'll get to, but I do think it's time to kind of spark that excitement again, and get some content going. I'll tell you one thing that kind of sparked some conversations the last few days. There was an interview done. This kind of goes into our main topic that we're going to talk about here. Adam Driver was a guest on the Rich Eisen show. Now, a lot of you probably don't know who Rich Eisen is, but Rich Eisen is a TV personality in the sports world. He works for the NFL Network and has a podcast called the Rich Eisen Podcast. And he had Adam Driver on there to promote. I guess I don't even know why he was on there. I think he maybe got a movie coming out or something. But he's also a big football fan. So they were talking just several things, but Rich is a big Star Wars fan. So of course he asked him about playing Kylo Ren and the experience of making those Star Wars sequel movies and things like that. The interesting thing that I thought really made me think, and I think it made a lot of people think, was his description of what he signed on for as far as what he wanted to do with the character of Kylo Ren. And I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the transcript in front of me, but basically what he was saying was that the redemption of Kylo Ren was never in the plans when he first signed on. When obviously J.J. Abrams did the first movie, The Force Awakens, apparently the discussions were that this was going to be the story opposite of Vader, where Vader is redeemed at the end of Return of the Jedi and becomes Anakin Skywalker again. Kylo Ren was never supposed to become Ben Solo again. He was committed to the dark side. And it didn't get changed until pre-production and story writing of The Rise of Skywalker, when even Rey's, as we come to know, Rey's story got changed because she in fact was supposed to be a nobody. There were talks of her being either maybe an Obi-Wan's granddaughter, and then there was nobody, and then ultimately she became Palpatine's. But I thought that was very interesting because he somewhat even mentioned and kind of praised, Rian Johnson's direction, because that really pushed Kylo into that. In fact, I remember coming out of The Last Jedi and having those initial conversations, and I remember saying, there's no way he can be redeemed now. I mean, what he did in that movie, shooting on his mother and trying to kill all these people in Resistance, it's like, you can't come back from that. And
No.
Right? So it actually made sense now looking back at it, the progression that he was going through in each movie, and ultimately it got changed. But I don't know, what's your reaction to him saying that?
I absolutely love it. I wish that's what happened. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I wasn't happy about Rey being a nobody. I wasn't happy about that. And I think part of that was because I was so wed to my own idea that she was Kylo Ren's little sister.
Right.
Playing off of the Jason and Jaina type of thing, which would have been great because in that, Jason falls to the dark side and dies fallen to the dark side. And Jaina, who is good, has to kill him.
Yes.
Like, it's a whole thing. That would have been absolutely amazing. So I don't know. Like, I understand when they were... I wonder if what happened was like, oh, wow, there was such a violent reaction to Rey being a nobody that...
Yeah.
No, we got to make her somebody. And then, oh, well, she's a Palpatine. What's the opposite of a Palpatine? A Skywalker. Okay. Kylo Ren's going to be redeemed. Like, I think it would have helped make the sequels flow better if they just stuck to their guns. Still, The Last Jedi sticks out like a sore thumb for various reasons, but I think it would have helped if they kept that through line, because I agree with you. When I left The Last Jedi, I'm like, there's no coming back for Kylo Ren. There's no coming back.
Right.
So, no, I agree with you. I think it would have led to a very interesting story at the end. And Yeah, I'm kind of speechless because I didn't know about this until you told me right before we recorded.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where we've kind of heard rumors of this, obviously, that
Hmm.
there were different, there wasn't a plan necessarily for the sequel trilogy that kind of was just thrown together, and
Which was a
we got to remember.
mistake from the beginning.
Yeah,
Like, there
100%.
needed to be a
And
plan.
we got to remember, which most people do now, but Colin Trevorrow was supposed to direct, and he co-wrote the ninth movie.
Hmm.
It was called Duel of the Fates, and in that movie, Kylo does not get redeemed. And Ray ends up being a nobody. Actually, I think she finds out her name, and it's not Skywalker, it's not Palpatine.
Right.
But that didn't go well. I guess that didn't track well with Lucasfilm, so they got rid of Colin and they brought in JJ again, and JJ obviously changed it to what he did. But so that we've known rumors about all that, but like it's really nice to hear an actor come out and kind of reveal what we think is the truth about what happened and how it went down. And the great thing about it is he wasn't at all saying like he was upset by it or he was angry with it.
Right.
Kind of not like, I think Mark Hamill expressed his kind of disgust with how Luke was treated,
What? He did?
especially
He
especially in
had
the
he had
yeah,
strong feelings about that?
he did have
No.
strong feelings about that. Yeah, especially the Last Jedi. But Adam was very very still very cordial to the process. He was just he loved being that character. He loved playing that character. He talked about the one thing he also said, which I thought was pretty cool. He does say later on that working with Harrison was incredible, and that people don't realize really how massive of a Star Wars fan Harrison Ford actually is.
He
Which doesn't publicly acknowledge it like Mark Hamill does. Right? He's not out there like Mark is. Mark's out there as Luke all the time,
Mhm.
going to conventions and taking pictures and responding to people. I mean, there was an article that I saw. There was another article I saw, and I don't know how long ago this happened, but Mark Hamill, somebody on Twitter had said that there was a child, unfortunately, that was passing away,
Yes.
and his dream was to meet Luke Skywalker. And Mark went to his bedside and sat next to him and talked to him as Luke Skywalker. I mean, people just don't do that all the time. And so he embraces it. I think, Carrie Fisher, God rest her soul, she embraced it really well. Harrison, just hasn't really embraced it. In fact, he's only been to like one or two celebrations, so he's not out there. But it was comforting and really great to hear Adam say, in the conversations he had, that he kept saying like, man, isn't this awesome? Isn't this cool? Like Star Wars, man, so like he's like, I just really felt the love that he had for this franchise and for these characters, and especially Han Solo.
But I think part of it is, even though Harrison Ford is a very charismatic guy, especially in how he plays his characters, he seems like he's actually a very quiet, private person
Yes, I
in
think
real
so. I
life.
think you're right.
So that could just be, meanwhile, Mark Hamill, he seems a lot more outgoing. Carrie Fisher seemed a lot more outgoing. So I just wonder if that was just, Harrison Ford being Harrison Ford.
Yeah, it could be for sure. Yeah.
It could also be his form of humility. I'm not saying that, Mark and Carrie were, you know, egotistical or prideful about the fact that they were in Star Wars. I'm just saying that could just be Harrison's version of humility,
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
like trying to just play it off like, yeah, I was in Star Wars, it was cool, but he's not like trying to rub it in other people's faces. Not
Right.
that Mark and Carrie did, but Harrison could could have probably felt like, well, if I do this, then that's kind of showing off a bit, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In Harrison's opinion, I mean.
Right. Yeah. No, that's true. I believe that's true. So anyway, I think, it's been a few years since these sequels have come out already. The Last Jedi came out 4 years ago, or not The Last Jedi. Rise of Skywalker came out 4 years ago.
4 years already?
Yes, 2019. So right before the pandemic, we enjoyed the finale of the Skywalker saga. So
yeah,
4
our whole
years,
company went.
Yeah, that's right. And 4 years from now, 4 years since, you definitely can tell, at least I can, that, there's just not a lot of discussion about those movies really anymore,
If anything, there's been an increase in the prequels.
I totally agree. Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like a lot of, especially with Anakin, Hayden coming back and Ahsoka, the rise of Ahsoka being such a popular character and her life down at that era. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot more appreciation, I feel like, and a lot more discussion going on there.
Mm-hmm.
I think people have unfortunately moved on from the sequels already, and I mean, I'm sure there's definitely people out there that still watch them and enjoy them, but you just don't hear anybody talking about them really anymore.
No. Every now and again around our office, there'll be a quick, heated debate between The Last Jedi versus Rise of Skywalker, which is better. But outside of that, yeah, I haven't really heard a lot of talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it could take, and I don't know if it'll work, but it could take just an expansion possibly of those characters, which, with Rey coming back in movies, possibly if they do that movie, maybe that creates, some interest back into that a little bit, but I don't know. It's going to be tough.
We shall see.
It's going to be tough. Okay. Let's see. I think there are some comments from last week or last episode. Let's see. Yeah. Thrawn Addict says, I'm hoping to, oh, wait a minute. Let's see. Did we? 4, 6. No, we said those. No, actually, I think Cyber Ren. I'm trying to look at. I can't remember if he said that or not. Because there's 2 episodes ago when we talked about Filoni, the whole new chief operating officer.
Yeah.
I think Cyber Ren just commented later on this after we. I don't think we talked about that on 417 because it looks like he left the same. Anyway. At the same time. So on 416, when we talked about Filoni, he says, oh my God, I would absolutely love a what if series for Star Wars. He goes, come on, I can't believe fans such as yourselves would not want to explore these concepts. What if Luke and Leia turned dark and joined Vader? Oh man, that would be so awesome to see. What would happen? What if Anakin never turned? Where would he be now? There's so many ideas that could explore that would just broaden our imaginations. Who cares if it's not canon? They would just be fantastic stories to see. I'd be so into it. Then 1,000 times more than that crap vision stuff. Please delete those from the Star Wars name and our memories that they even exist.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa!
I know that hits you a little hard.
Ouch! A little hard.
Yeah, that was probably a little too far, but
I mean, hey, to each their own. To each their own.
To each their own. Yeah. I mean, we're I feel like we're canon people, and if it's not necessarily going to be canon, then what if? I don't know. It'd be.
I mean, like, would it be
But
fun?
you were wanting it. You would want it. Weren't you saying that?
No, I said I
remember.
saw it and I was like, oh, that would be interesting, but I don't need it. Like,
You don't need it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I just, I and this is why I'm thinking I don't need it, is I desperately don't want Star Wars to turn into a Marvel cluster, you know what. I just,
Right.
I don't want that. And if that's going to start taking it down the path, I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Just my opinion, but to each their own.
Yeah. Let's see. He also says, as me and Dave discussed in a council session, a big no to Star Wars comedy. It's not meant to be funny. It was humor within its serious. It has humor within its serious situations, and that has always been funny. But don't ever tarnish it with stupid humor just to try and be funny. I don't mind people outside of Star Wars making fun of Star Wars like the mentioned series Family Guy or Simpsons. That's okay because it's not actually Star Wars, but please never make it into a comedy. I take these stories too seriously and will not laugh at them.
Who said that?
Cyber Ren, of course, Martin.
Martin, you and I are going to exchange words, my dude.
Yeah.
Because, while I agree with, I understand where that comes from. Yes, I don't want stupid humor either, because that just gets corny and crappy immediately, in my opinion. But dark humor, like, I keep on going back to Taika's Jojo Rabbit. That is some witty, dark humor. I could see that easily translating into a movie about a Sith trying to navigate the Sith Academy and then turning to the light side. I mean, come on. Like, I'm not talking about like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Not that I'm saying that's stupid humor, but I'm saying that, there are some people who don't get that. Like, some people look at that and say that's stupid. I don't know anybody who looks at Jojo Rabbit, and if they don't find it funny, they don't call it stupid humor, though. They still get it. They just don't find, like, that's not their cup of tea.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
So that's the type of humor. Come on.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then our last episode where we were talking about the whole dead zone stuff, Thrawn Addict says, I'm hoping delays or pushbacks for certain TV shows and films is a positive, and they are taking the time to make sure the quality is there and they are not rushed. I don't mind waiting a bit longer for Andor Season 2 and Mandalorian Season 4. I think having the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew would be great in 2024 because it's new stories with characters we are not familiar with, so might give Star Wars fresh take for certain Star Wars who might feel a bit of fatigue. I'm one of those people who says, I don't mind a bit of time between films and shows, but as soon as one ends after a week, I miss my weekly Star Wars episodes. But like you and Hannah, I do read all the books and comics, and they keep me quite busy in my downtime. I agree with you both. I feel like it's quite a small percentage of fans that get into the publishing side of Star Wars, but it's a shame because they are missing out on some great stories. Thanks again, Dave and Hannah. May the force be with you.
I completely agree. People are missing out without reading. But like the thing is that yes, there are things of like audiobooks, but audiobooks take time. Like you're wed to a certain amount of time with that. And then with reading a book, that takes time too. And everybody is so busy all the time with everything. And you want it when you relax. Sometimes people don't find reading relaxing. They find it like, oh, that's an activity for me to do. I just need to shut my brain off. So I think that's a huge part of it too. And I also wonder if, like for me, school fueled my love of reading, but for some people it turned them off because they were forced to read certain books.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's part of it too. I wish more people would just dive into, because they are missing out on absolutely incredible stories.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, but I agree that they're missing out, but there's just something, some people just like, I don't really have it. It's so weird. I don't really have a desire to read. The audiobooks is really what saved me. Because I love movies, and it's like listening to a movie. So I can dig into that. So I feel like anybody that is not into reading, try an audiobook,
Just try
especially
it.
the Star Wars ones, because they are fully produced.
They're incredible. They absolutely are.
Yeah.
In fact, go to our channel Beyond the Saga on YouTube.
That's right.
Take a listen. If there's one that sounds interesting to you, then pull up that audiobook and go. And I think if you have Amazon Prime, you actually get some audiobook credits, I think.
Yeah, I think I think you're right. I think there's some on there that they list for free.
Yeah. Or they say you have to burn a credit for this. So essentially you're not paying for it. You're getting it for free.
That's right.
So why not? And even if you have to pay for it, it's going to be less than $10. And you get instant access to it instead of waiting for it to be delivered.
Yep, that's right.
Although I think I
call.
would highly recommend a Mark Thompson.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Do one that he reads.
Absolutely. Okay, last comment here back from Cyber Ren again, saying, "Okay, guys, I have to laugh. Star Wars fans these days have gotten greedy and needy. Let me remind everyone that there was a time when the original trilogy was in theaters. We had to wait 3 years to get the next story. And after Jedi, we waited 16 years to get the prequels. 16 years. And after those, another 10 before Force Awakens came, with a few small offerings like Clone Wars in between. Now we're crying over it being a couple of months since anything. Man, we're spoiled. Of course, I'm with you in wanting it all. I'd watch Star Wars every day if they release something, but I truly don't mind waiting at all. I way more than anything else want quality. So I can be patient if that's what it gets us. But maybe people have forgotten how long we used to have to wait for the next story. But I will add that for TV shows, it shouldn't be more than a year between seasons. Game of Thrones screwed us all and the industry by leading the way to make it acceptable to wait 2 or more years for the next season. That's unforgivable. Side note, Christmas is a 2-day holiday. The absolute law for anything Christmas related is December 1st. No earlier. I love it too, but more than a month? That's just retail greed pushing the limits.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Man, he's not holding. He is wrong. Christmas is... Christmas, the spirit of Christmas actually should be all year long.
Yes. Yeah. When you get to the heart of it, the spirit of Christmas should be all year long. I mean,
yes.
I'm not afraid to say I listen to Christmas carols in July.
Now, I don't go that far, but yes, you are allowed to do that.
I do agree though that like decorations and things like that and Christmas sales going on too early.
Stores?
Like the commercialization of Christmas. I do believe there should be a set window for that. But the spirit of Christmas and the joy of Christmas, like based on what I believe, there is no Thanksgiving without Christmas. There is not anything to be thankful for without the spirit of Christmas.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So, but that's just my opinion. Like everybody's different.
Yeah, I think November 1st. So after Halloween, I think it's all out. You can do whatever you want for Christmas.
That's your official stance.
Totally. Because
November 1st.
Thanksgiving is like, I mean, Thanksgiving, especially in the States, it's like, it's truly a, fall kind of, even though it is still fall, but it's centered around pumpkins and the colored leaves but in the end, I don't know. It's only literally planned for those 2 days. You know, I mean, there's only Thanksgiving is one day, but you usually have Thursday, Friday off work. So it's like you have this plan that's Thanksgiving. Whereas it's not like you celebrate Thanksgiving leading up to Thanksgiving. You know, Christmas, you don't just celebrate Christmas Day. Christmas is like a season. And that season, I feel like, I think it helps everybody if that season is longer. You know? So I feel like, why not celebrate leading up to it for 2 months instead of just a month? Right?
Okay, I mean, I get that. I'm not
I'm not trying to sell you. I'm trying to sell Martin because he's dissing us on the Christmas thing. So,
well, I will say though, the whole comment about like waiting 16 years and then waiting 10 years, I get it.
Right.
I personally will gladly, if you're telling me that what I'm going to see is going to be a masterpiece, but it's going to take 5 years, I'll wait. That's fine. I think it's just the fact that unfortunately the attention span and the patience of people with the advancement of technology has just gotten that attention span and patience has gotten shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. So I just think people are so used to getting everything instant that
I think times change. You know, and like, I get it that we waited 16 years, but we didn't, you know, there wasn't a choice back then because George was paying for it all himself.
Yeah, but I also wonder if part of it is nobody knew that was coming. Nobody knew that the prequels were coming.
We knew they were coming. We didn't know when, because we knew that what we had was episode 4, 5, and 6.
Right. Sorry. That's what I meant, is that there was no date.
No.
But I wonder if that's the difference here, is that they're giving a date and then they're changing it.
That's true. That's true.
It's like you're changing someone's expectations. And in any like relationship, a shift in expectations will create disappointment.
Yes.
Or sorry, it could create disappointment.
Yep.
Because you're moving forward, understanding one thing, and all of a sudden it changes. So I wonder if
we did talk about that. Yeah. Yep.
So if they just said, hey, it's coming, but they never gave a date, I wonder if the reaction would be different.
Well, I think it has been with some of these series. You know, I mean, we got announced that there was going to be a Lando series. I mean, nothing's been announced. I mean, there's been some announcements that people have left the series, but it's not like we were giving like you said, given a coming in 2024, and then all of a sudden it doesn't come in 2024, and it's in development hell, and we don't know when it's coming. But you know, they made that kind of a subtle announcement, and then they haven't really talked about it, which is fine because no one's really talking about it either.
Yeah, it's like cool.
Yeah, but I think like you said, I agree. I think the technology and the fact that Disney has the resources to make content more regularly. Mm-hmm. Now, I agree. Bob Iger might be going down this road of quality versus quantity, and he might be cutting back on things, which is fine. But you're really going to get into a problem if you focus on quality, space the stuff out, but then it's no good. Right? Like you said. Right. So there is a risk there.
There always is a risk.
That you start damaging not only the expectation, but the results. So, yeah, we'll just have to see, I think. But I think, like we said, we got 4 series coming out next year. That's a lot. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a lot of books and comics still coming out. There's no movie yet. And I think that's what a lot of fans want. I think a lot of fans want to go back to the theaters and watch Star Wars in the theaters.
Yeah.
So we will keep being spoiled, Cyber Ren, and and expect Star Wars faster. All right, everybody, thank you for joining us. As we said earlier, at the top. We got one more show for 2023 next week, and we're going to kind of do a recap and talk about what our plans are for 2024. Mm-hmm. And gonna be a lot of fun. So come back next week and hear all that. We hope everybody has a great and safe holiday season, holiday week. Hope everybody gets everything they want from their loved ones, from Santa, all that stuff. So, Hannah, have a good Merry Christmas.
Have a Merry Christmas as well, Dave. And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all of you listening.
Yes. Or watching. Whatever you're doing. Yeah. All right, everybody. Take care out there. We'll see you next week. May the Force be with you.